Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Knicks fans. Good afternoon, my SB community. Welcome back to the Sheer Brilliance Knicks podcast. You already know we are first to many and second to no one when it comes to covering news, team moves, and interesting views surrounding our New York Knicks. But that's neither here nor there, because you know what we're here for. We're here today to talk about the Road Warriors. The New York Knicks have secured a victory in Indiana last night. I was there. And we're going to talk about that. They secured the victory in Indiana last night for their seventh in a row. Seventh in a row. Thus putting the league on notice. Putting the league on notice. And if you know anything about the Road Warriors, for my old heads, oh, what a rush. Shout out. Shout out. So hold on for one moment. Yeah, let's go. Big task at hand, my God. Let's talk about these Knicks. I hope you stick around because I want to give you a personal shout out in any way, all right? People are going to trickle in a little bit, but it's not about the people right now. It's about these Knicks, okay? We're going to do this Knicks Daily style, of course. But I want to talk about how proud I am of my man Big Task at Hand. Shout out to you, my guy. Shout out to you. Because I paid a visit to the Locked On Bulls podcast. SB community, where you at? I'm going to get underway with the program, but I paid a visit to the Locked On Bulls podcast. Okay? And he was talking saucy about us before we lay the smack of down on their candy asses for the 2-game sweep in Chicago. They were talking saucy about us. And I made a video about it. If you haven't seen the video, go check it out. There's the Bulls talking smack. But after we secured those victories, I just wanted to see if humility set in. I wanted to see if the tone changed just a little bit. And listen, we as Knicks fans got to be humble. Everybody's braggadocious when they up, right? You know, the famous philosopher Luka Doncic said that, right? Everybody's bragging and braggadocious when they up, all right? So we know what it is. We humble. But I went back just to see if the tone changed, right? And I watched that video, and I saw my man Big Task at Hand in the comments, not trolling, but bringing up appropriate questions that needed to be answered. And the host of the podcast got sensitive real fast. Man, you would have swore he was from New York. He had these SMDs. He was really getting out of pocket. He was getting out of pocket. But the questions were legitimate questions asked by Big Task at Hand. And I'm sitting there smiling like, listen, we're all professionals here. We respect each other fan bases 100%. I wouldn't want anybody kind of coming in and trolling me, as they will. Listen, anytime you have an avenue, you want people to express their opinions, you should be able to go back and forth. Knicks fans, we know that anyway. You know what I mean? I already start my show, friend or foe. We want the smoke, and the smoke is exactly what we're bringing today, courtesy of Big Task at Hand. Bro, you made my night, man. I went to sleep with a smile on my face. I watched that joint, I rewinded it like 3 times. Money was tight. Money was tight. So shout out to you, sir. Shout out to you, man. We'll get into that a little bit more. But right now, we're here to talk about these New York Knicks. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. If you're dropping in and you're visiting the channel for the first time, salute to you. You know, we welcome you into the SB community. For those of you who are returning, extra salute, my SB community. What is good? What is good? outside of our Knicks, but we're going to get into that. What is good? Okay? If you're here for the first time and you're not necessarily a Knicks fan, we call you the ops, and we know that. You can't have those people who celebrate you if you don't have those people who doubt you. That's the fuel we strive on, particularly in New York. So we welcome you in. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. So we see you. We see you in the comment section, whether you're here on live or you watch afterwards, but we welcome you anyway. This platform is for anyone who's a fan of basketball, okay? Friend or foe. We want the smoke. And the smoke is exactly what we're going to be discussing today, courtesy of these New York streaking Knicks, these road warriors. And I am here for it. I'm excited. I'm hyped. I got a lot to say. So let's get at it. How we're going to do this today is going to be Knicks Daily Edition style. Knicks Daily Edition. I don't got my ad-libs on, so I got to do the ad-libs in person. But Knicks Daily Edition. So let me explain that to you real quick before we jump into it. If you're here for the first time, welcome. If you don't know what Knicks Daily is, here at the Sheer Brilliance podcast, we celebrate any New York Knicks victory, Knicks Daily Edition style. So why is Knicks Daily important on a podcast that talks about the Knicks? Well, let me tell you, okay? If you are from New York, you know the importance of the deli or the bodega, all right, in terms of our cultural fabric. If you've never been to New York before and you're simply a fan, one thing you got to do when you visit New York, you got to visit a deli. You got to visit a bodega, okay? Here at Knicks Deli, there are only 4 items that are on the menu, okay? So we're going to talk about those 4 items. The first thing that's on the menu is the bacon, egg, and cheese, okay? And if you visit New York, you visit the Knicks Deli, you can't go in there and say, hey, hi, excuse me, can I get a bacon, egg, and a cheese? They will kick you out, okay? They're going to kick you out. When you go in there, you got to be like, yo, what up? And you got to just stare at the menu as if you don't know what you want, right? Just got to keep looking at the menu. Knowing damn well you're going to get the same thing you get every time. You be like, yo, what up? Let me get the bacon, egg, and cheese, okay? For me personally, it's the turkey, bacon, egg, and cheese because I don't eat pork, all right? So you'd be like, yo, let me get the turkey, bacon, egg, and cheese, all right? And here at Knicks Deli, the turkey, bacon, egg, and cheese means who are the 3 players? Who are the 3 ingredients to that sandwich, which is phenomenal, that make that thing bussin'? So we're going to talk about, for this game, for this victory that secured us the 7th straight victory in a row, who was the bacon of the game, who was the egg of the game, and who was the cheese of the game? Who combined made that thing phenomenal? So we're going to talk about who's the bacon, egg, and cheese. That's the first item on the menu. Second item on the menu is the dollar slice. Damn, wish I had my thunder sound. The dollar slice. And the dollar slice, everybody in the world knows, all right? If you're visiting and you're not from New York, I'm sorry, I can't help you, all right? I know where I'm at right now. I'm in Indiana. I'm 2 hours away from Chicago. A lot of people from Chicago live here where I am. New York has the best pizza in the world, hands down. Hands down, okay? What you got there in Chicago, that is a casserole, all right? That is not pizza, that is a casserole. It's good, I hear. I never had it. I mean, I had it one time. It's good, but that's a deep dish casserole, okay? That's not real pizza. New York has the best pizza in the world, and the dollar slice is a staple of New York culture, all right? So that dollar slice is stabilizing. It's stable. It's that go-to. So we're going to look at what player is the dollar slice. What player was a stabilizing factor in this game that was the go-to that we could go to. So we're going to identify who the dollar slice is. Next is the chopped cheese, all right? Now, the chopped cheese in New York is relatively new, but that thing be bussin'. So we're going to look at what player in the game is either relatively new to the team, either relatively new to the lineup. We know there's been recent changes, or just, man, their contribution is a little bit unexpected. All right, so we're going to talk about who's the chopped cheese of the game. And lastly, there is the quarter water, okay? You can't have the chopped cheese. You can't have the dollar slice. You can't have the bacon, egg, and cheese without something to wash that thing down with, all right? And that's the quarter water. So the quarter water is going to be the player who came in, and whether they had a phenomenal quarter or in spurts, they contributed to us getting this win. We're going to talk about who's the quarter water of the game. And then lastly, we're going to talk about that nah son nah, you wildin' moment of the game. And the nah son nah, you wildin' moment of the game will go to either a commentator who was talking a little bit during, before, or after the game, a player who was playing in the game, or anything surrounding this victory that made you look at them sideways and be like, yo, nah son nah, you wildin'. Okay, and then we're gonna wrap it up with final thoughts. We're gonna get into the chat throughout. I'm gonna go to the chat, see what y'all talking about. Please do me a favor. Salute to all of you. Chime in. I'm gonna get to your comments as I go through these things. I'm gonna ask that this be interactive. I don't want to be talking at you. It's already enough of just talking at a screen. You know what I mean? So I need the energy. I need you to be truly Knicks fans. Give me that energy back. Okay, that energy, like the energy that was sucked out of the Gainsbridge Fieldhouse last night when I attended the game. Okay, it was looking at me crazy as I'm, screaming my head off when RJ slammed on the whole team, when Julius slammed on the whole team. They couldn't handle the left-handed barrage that was taking place last night at Indiana Pacers Stadium, and I was there for it. I felt bad because there was a 7-year-old kid in front of me who was going hard for his squad. But I didn't care. I was shutting it down. 7-year-olds can get that work too. Okay? Let's be clear. So we're going to get into it. We're going to start off first with, I'm going to hit up the chat, man. Let me see who's in here. I got a couple people already in here already. So let me throw a salute to you folks. Thank you for showing up. First and foremost, big task at hand. Shout out to you. Let's talk about these Knicks. It's correct. Okay? It's correct. Definitely represent that Knick pride, baby, every day, all day, no matter where you are. Listen, the reason this whole movement happened on YouTube, one of the first pioneers, shout out to Nothing But Knicks, shout out to Knick Fans TV, shout out to Legion of Knicks, all those cats, man. It was a movement, but the movement started when we saw the clearly biased, unfair representation of who Knicks fans are and who the Knicks fan organization, the Knicks organization was. Slandering us became a hobby for them, an actual activity. And we stopped all of that once we began changing the narrative with our own platforms and our voices, being as objective or non-objective as we wanted to be because they were doing it. We found a way to do it better. Now they have to acquiesce to what we're doing. All right? So Knick pride everywhere, all day, every day. Let's go. Okay? My guy, big task at hand. You already know. You already know as well. All right? You here? Yo, we're going to get into this. Let's go. Next up, shout out to my man Worldwide L. Let's get it, baby. Salute to you as well, baby. Yeah, we about to get into this, man. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of fun today. All right? Next up, we got For the Love of the Game. Salute to you. Salute to you. I don't know if you're new to the channel, man, but welcome everybody in this chat. Do me a favor. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm being more consistent with this thing, pumping these things out. Win or lose, the whole key is being consistent. And I haven't held up my end of the bargain on that. I let some things, listen, you make time for things that are important to you. All right. And this thing, as we dive into it a little bit more, this thing is becoming important to me. I learned that from my fellow content creators. So we're going to get into it. All right. Let's see who else we got in here before I just get underway. Shout out to you all. Wait, I'm bugging. Hold on for a second. There we go. Yes. Talking about the chopped cheese. We're going to get into that as well. And where you from? Arizona always? Let's get it. Let's see. Okay, he was only 8, but I hate kids. DMX, yo, shout out. Absolutely. Y'all felt that way, man. I felt that way. And let's not get it twisted. Knicks fans travel. If you guys get an opportunity to watch the playback, there was blue splattered throughout that arena, and what I love, it's so funny, I took my young bro out here as well, and he had never been, to a basketball game. So I'm like, what? And he's from Indiana. But he was surprised at how Knicks fans were greeting each other. Didn't know anyone from whatever. But if you had on blue and orange, we were dapping each other up. We was just like, yo, let's get this 7. You know what I mean? We was throwing up that 6 sign like MJ. Like, yeah, we on the 6-game winning streak. So he was just blown away by how much camaraderie Knicks fans had. I'm like, yo, bro, that's a Knicks thing, but that's also a New York thing, man. If we show respect where we are. All right? So my man Law, let's get it. Knicks pride in here. We're gonna have a blast. Already, I can see from the people that are in the chat, it's about to go down. It's about to get down. So make sure y'all talk to me, because I'm gonna be, interchanging between me talking about what's on my agenda and everything that you guys are doing. And also, thank you guys for supporting those videos, man. Try to be a little bit more consistent, get that quality in there. But it's real easy, man. It's real easy when the team is working hard and doing what they need to do. It don't always equate to wins. All we ask is that you put forth the effort. All that we ask is that you take as much pride with the name that's on the front of your jersey as you do with the name that's on the back of your jersey. That's all we ask as New Yorkers. And they've been doing that, so the content comes easy with that. And we need the haters. We wouldn't have these platforms if there weren't haters. If they were respecting us in major media, ESPN would be on point. They would have no problems with ratings, okay? When New York is up, we're a problem. And they've been kicking us while we've been down for like 25 years. So once we start getting up, they know they ain't gonna be able to shut us up. So they try to keep the boots on our lower back. But it's not happening. We coming up, all right? So lastly, worldwide, let me read these last 2 comments. So now from Far Rockaway, I was talking about Arizona sweet tea. Oh, okay, I got you. Good. Let's go Far Rock. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. You had that with your chopped cheese? Let me see. I like the Arizona, but I never finish them. You know what I mean? So quarter water, wash that down real quick. I'm gonna throw that Arizona. We're gonna have to switch up the menu a little bit as time moves forward. So, that'll be your contribution, man. I'm gonna throw that Arizona in there. Okay. Knicks are on point. Armani Rodriguez, let's get it. Welcome to the chat. Knicks all the way. Listen, as you come on, make sure you subscribe so we can keep this thing going, man. Y'all all family now. SB community, let's get it. So let me get into this. Okay? Don't y'all feel good? Listen, man, I feel good. The New York Knicks had a game last night. Okay? The New York Knicks had a game last night, and it was phenomenal, right? Now, being that I attended the game, I was a little bit nervous. Okay? I was just like, damn, I really want to get this. We need to run this streak up. We really need to run this streak up. It's funny because I was able to call into Knicks Fan TV last week, and prior to the Chicago games, and I was just like, listen, I think we have an opportunity to get like 7 straight. They didn't poo-poo it. They didn't disagree. Let me get my points out. But I was reminded when I was listening, one caller came in, he was just like, there was a dude that was on your show who called in who was like 7 straight. Shout out to him. And I'm like, that was me. You know what I mean? So it was real possible, but Indiana has been playing pretty decent basketball. All right, they had a couple of close games, and we already know they got talent. That dude Mathurin is a problem. That dude Nesmith, he was trying to get off on us. And Halliburton was also a talent. We wanted him as well. So to be at that game, I was hyped. I was also nervous because since I've been out here in Indiana, right? I'm from Long Island. I'm from Bayshore. Shout out to Bayshore. Shout out to Long Island. Okay? Sometimes they be trying to disrespect us like we don't got street credibility in these streets. Okay? And I have to remind my friends and my family from Brooklyn, Queens, don't y'all know y'all on Long Island too? So let's be specific. Okay? Y'all part of Long Island. But Long Island stand up. Okay? So, since I've been out here, I've probably attended 6 games. And I'm not even going to lie to you. The Knicks ain't won one of them, with the exception of the one last night. So I'm like, damn, am I bringing this bad orange and blue juju to the team? So it always would be the Knicks would start off strong, and in that fourth quarter, the crowd get loud, and the Knicks would squander the game. And it had an opportunity for that to happen last night. So I was nervous. I was sitting there quiet. But you could also see the fans, they root for their team just like we do. There was this older guy that was down there, he was talking, but I saw him watching the game, and he watches the game like I do when I'm on my couch at home, rocking back and forth, don't know what to do. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yo, all right, they're kind of like us. So it was back and forth, man. But it was a great experience, man. As they reminded me, there was a fan that reminded me while I was watching the game at the arena cheering my Knicks. I was just like, yo, we passionate. They was like, yo, we passionate too. We invented basketball. And real quick, I was just like, oh, damn, I forgot. I'm in Indiana. Naismith, Peach Bucket, Peach Basket. This is where basketball was built. So they are crazy about basketball. So shout out to all the Indiana Pacer fans. I had a phenomenal experience there. I truly enjoyed. With all due respect, I truly enjoyed listening to the New York Knicks take the air out of the crowd in that arena. I'm almost choked up about it. Actually, I am choked up about it. Like choked up. They choked last night. They had a 6-point lead. We're going to talk our stuff today. Okay, we're going to talk our stuff. They choked up. They have a mural of Reggie Miller in the middle of Indianapolis. I've been out here for 6 years. Had to ride past that thing 2 times. Okay, I wanted to vandalize it, but I didn't want to lose my job. Okay? So we're going to talk about this. New York Knicks, just to kind of dive in, not waste any more time. The New York Knicks have been playing phenomenal basketball. 2 weeks ago, it was a different tune. We were walking Tom Thibodeau down the plank. We were knocking on James Dolan's door, and we don't even be talking as fan base. There's a lot of the fan base that don't rock with Dolan. All right? Those fan base put their tails between their legs, and they was knocking on the door like, Mr. Dolan, we have to make some changes. And this fool was actually getting antsy. Okay? We was wondering what was up with RJ. We was just like, yo, listen, there's some Austin Powers type of thing coming happen. Did you lose your mojo? Like, what's going on? All right? I don't know. It was just a lot that was going on. And then there was an interview I heard RJ give. And he said, you know what? We have a new point guard. We're trying things out with the rotation. We just need a little bit of time. All right? And who would ever think 2 weeks later we'd be completing a victory that secured the 7th straight victory? All right? So I just want to dive into it. We want to talk about the bacon, egg, and cheese of the game. But before I get into it and people start joining, I just want to go, let me go to the comments real quick to see what y'all talking. All right? So we got Ash Inc. Welcome back. I need to find a deli here in Cali. You in Cali? To get me a nice New York style hero. Let's go. Still haven't found one. Shout out to Strong Island, but Brooklyn is not Long Island. All right. Okay. All right. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to Strong Island. I hear you, but I'm not listening to you. Okay? Also, Ashley says, India invented basketball, but New York perfected it. Listen, everybody has to come worship at the Mecca. All right? They know this. That's why the hate is so large. Chicago, respect. But you are the second city. As Clyde reminded us on the broadcast, you are the second city. You're phenomenal. All right? Shout out to you, Ash. Big task at hand says, I'm holding back so many comments. Listen, man. Yeah, please. We want to stay on the air. We don't want no YouTube strikes. We want to keep good with it. All right. I'm going to have to pull myself back. All right. Because this may be the last broadcast if I get tied up into it. So let's get into it. All right. Knicks Deli Edition. Talked about what's on the menu. If you're here for the first time, enjoy yourselves. So we're going to talk about who was the bacon, egg, and cheese of the game. Who was the bacon, egg, and cheese of the game? Who were the 3 ingredients that really stood out and made that thing bust? And then do me a favor. As I'm going through who I identified as the bacon, egg, and cheese of the game, put who you think is the bacon, egg, and cheese. Who are the 3 players that you think, like, yo, they really stepped up and helped us secure this win? All right. I'll start with the bacon. For me, the bacon of the game is Jalen Brunson. Yo, what more can we say about Jalen Brunson? What more can we say? What more can we say about Jalen Brunson? Number one, worth every penny of that $100+ million contract. Every penny. Did they try to clown us or not? Yo, if you don't make a move, they try to clown you. If you make a move to secure cap space and get under the cap, then they clown you if you don't spend it. If you spend it, they clown you for spending it all. So you're never going to be right in the eyes of the ops. All right? But low key, they were just like, yo, y'all gave $100 million to a backup. Yo, Jalen Brunson is the first player that we've had like him in a long time. And I know I'm about to be blasphemous to many Knicks fans, but in terms of my confidence in this short period of time, in terms of my confidence about him being able to lead the team in crunch moments, being able to make the shot, him being a mismatch for any of his opponents on any given night, my confidence is at a higher level than it was when Carmelo Anthony was here. I said it. I know it's blasphemous for some of you, but I'm just telling you. And the only difference is because I think he sees teams first. And it may not be reflecting in his assist stats. I know that to be true. It doesn't reflect in his assist stats, but he reads the game enough to know when he needs to score and when he needs to get people involved. And I haven't seen that with us for a while, okay? If we're looking at Jalen Brunson last night had 30 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. But his impact is knowing when to be clutch. So many times we've been on the opposing end of the type of shots he was making. You could literally see him breaking the spirit of Indiana Pacers, teammates, team members. He was breaking the spirit, taking them into the paint, turnaround jump shot. His hezzies in the paint. You're a point guard. The biggest concern that we had that people who were pontificating about him coming to the New York Knicks was that he was undersized. This man plays like he a 7-footer from the 80s. He has 1 million moves. It's crazy. Jalen Brunson, bro, and he's mindful of the team. You clearly see Randall loves the fact that he doesn't have to be the closer. He loves that fact right now. He's playing so much lighter. And what I love was in those moments when we were down 6 last night, Jalen Brunson drove the ball down, got the score. He hit that three-pointer, timely three-pointer. When the game was on the line, we usually on the opposite end of that, getting crushed by a player who just steps up, calmly hits that three, runs back, nothing. He does it in his sleep. And I love that they flashed the camera on RJ. RJ had that look like, oh, like, yo. Because when RJ and Julius was here, we say what we want. But the pressure for them to be that guy was on them. And Jalen Brunson is just like, yo, I'll take that. It's us now. So the work that he's been able to do and just bringing this team together, you notice it. You see it in the results. So we got more than we bargained for. That contract, he may outplay his contract. If we want to talk, come on, man, you get injured. You saw those falls he was taking in the Chicago games. I wanted Tibbs to keep him out. That man was like, nah, if I could walk, I could play. Let's go. If I could walk, I could play. Yo, Jalen Brunson, what I want to see, and I'm going to end the bacon talk on this one before I go to the chat and see who y'all got us the bacon. What I want to see is I want to see ESPN and the media outlets They need to be trashing Dallas. How you let that man go? How you had 2 opportunities before it got to the summertime to sign that man? How you not see that? How you see that playoff run and let him get out the arena before the last final bell sounded without signing that man to a contract? How you let him go? Because if it was the Knicks, if Jeremy Lin would have left the New York Knicks and do what Jalen Brunson is doing for Houston, man, they would be dragging us. If Porzingis would have been successful, they would be dragging us. They need to be dragging Dallas for letting that man go. And he's getting in the passing lanes, playing defense. All the things they talked about as concerns for Jalen Brunson, he is killing them softly. And he said that when he came on. He said, yeah, I'm used to it. I'm used to being doubted. Every time somebody talks about me, they add the word but at the end of the sentence. Yeah, he's good, but you know what? He did win in college, but you know, he's 6'1", but you know, he's an all right player, but so he's like, I'm used to that. And I'm used to proving people wrong. The man wins everywhere he goes. And I want to say this. I'm going to hold that to the end. I'm going to hold it to the end. But we got us one. We got us one. So my bacon on the bacon, egg, and cheese is Jalen mother flipping Brunson. Jalen mother flipping Brunson. All right? I'm going to wait. I'm going to hold off on the. Let me roll to the comments real quick before I get into who's the egg. All right? So we got, let's go. Big Task at hand says, I'm holding back so many comments. I already read that. Mr. Jalen, give me the damn ball. Brunson, let's go. Ashley also says, Brunson is her bacon. All right? Egg is Randall. Cheese is RJ. We might have a lot of comments. Kenneth Lane, let's go. My guy, let's go. Salute to you. We finally have that identity we needed. 100%. Lord Cunningham says, there we go. He let his daddy mold him. Facts. And you know what's always crazy? It always seems to be the mid players that produce the superstars. Right? Always seems to be the mid players, and it seems like the super duper stars produce mid players. You know, no disrespect. You know, respectfully. But it seems that that's the case. All right? Big Task at hand says, I think Dallas was under the impression that Jalen was scared of New York bright lights, like most top free agents. I don't even want to get into that. We're going to get into it. Like the article on Bleacher Report that came out recently. I think they intentionally be dropping articles to mess with the emotion of Knicks fans. Be mindful of Bleacher Report because many of their articles are suspiciously dropped with certain topics that seem to get a rise out of Knicks fans. So then they go in and they engage with their content, whether it's cursing them out or whatever have you. Good or bad attention is good attention for Bleacher Report. So they be strategically dropping certain things that they know is going to be shared on other social media outlets. I'm on to them. All right. What is a black man without his paranoia? Okay. I'm on my conspiracy theory vibe. And I think that's truthful of that. So yeah, Bleacher Report be on something. All right. So my egg, want to go in here and not get caught up too much on the sandwich. So my egg of the game, bacon of the game is Jalen Brunson. Let me see. My egg of the game is Mitchell Robinson. Folks, can we talk about Mitch? Can we put some respect on Mitch's name? One thing I love is we are at the point with this team that we, for real, have drafted and we have developed players who are playing important minutes for the New York Knicks. And now it's equating to wins. All of the players that you listen to, these analysts and these experts, New York doesn't have any talent. They have some decent guys over there, you know, role players, a bunch of role players or whatever have you, but they don't really have talent. When you don't watch the team, and this is what a lot of teams are going to get caught off guard, this is the mistake they're making. They did it in Chicago because I was watching their announcers pregame and postgame. And their pregame take on who the Knicks are was much different in postgame. I'm going to get off track real quick and talk about Chicago. I watched, they had Kendall Gill. If many of you are a little bit older, you remember Kendall Gill playing for the Charlotte Hornets? Well, he's their commentator in Chicago now. He played in Chicago as well. But he said, man, you know what? This New York Knicks team looked like the team that was here in 2007 with Joakim Noah, Taj Gibson. He said, when we didn't know who those players were, he said, it looks like very familiar that the Knicks are building what we built in 2007. They look at the different players and what they contribute, and they're like, that looks very familiar, and that's scary. To hear the opponents say that, I was just like, yo, this is what it is. But before the game, they was talking saucy. Oh, this is the perfect opportunity to get back on track. Come on, get out of here. That team needs a point guard. They're in disarray without a point guard, just like we were. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm on my high horse, because we were there. Point guard for the – anyway. So the egg of the game is Mitchell Robinson. The only thing that I was asking for from Mitch, everybody was talking about trading Mitch. Not everybody, but a lot of Knicks fans was talking about we could trade Mitch and what he does. Even when Hartenstein first got here, the first couple of games, he was scoring. People was just like, yo, we could ship Mitch out. And I'm looking at Knicks fans on Twitter like, are you stupid or are you dumb? Like, I don't understand. What you got to realize is we have a player who is probably going to be one of the new, he's going to help us usher in the new style of play that's going to be sprinkled across the league. And I'm not getting ahead of myself with the Knicks. Just bear with me. But the role of a player who's actually 7 foot, but athletic enough to cover the big man and mobile enough to get at least to the foul line to contest the shot and long enough to block 3-point shots, even though we would prefer he not try to block 3-point shots. But the fact that he's mobile enough, agile enough to have that ability to do so, that's difficult to game plan for. And we got him at the 54th pick. And he only slipped because he withdrew from, the community college that he was in, that I believe his godfather or his uncle was part of before he stepped down. So we lucked into getting this pick. Mitchell Robinson was expected to be higher rated coming out of high school. And we lucked up on getting him. So 54 isn't his talent. It doesn't match his talent level, that pick. And we want to just kind of give away. He is offensive rebounding. He's a monster. And he's been a monster. All I was asking for from Mitch is the production that Oakley gave us in the 90s. You can guarantee Oakley was a double-double every night. And he was the enforcer for Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing didn't have to worry about being the one to step up in somebody's face. He's the cash cow. He's the golden goose. So we need to keep him in the game. But who's going to step in front of Patrick and take the blows or give him? Charles Oakley. Mitch Robinson is embracing that. And what I love, he said once he got the money, once he got that contract, he felt as if the Knicks showed trust in him. So he feels compelled to go out there and show them that it was a worthy investment. You know the maturity it takes for him to get to that point? You know how long it's been that we were saying the only thing that's separating the talent package that Mitchell brings and him reaching his potential is that he got to get a little bit more mature. He's too jokey. Bro, he's a different player right now. They know, the opponents know what they have to deal with when they come into a game with the New York Knicks. They know Mitchell Robinson is there. And he's getting to the point where he's becoming healthy. He's staying healthy. All right? I know he had an injury, a little bit early in the season, but we're starting to be able to rely on him to be able to produce what he's producing. And he's doing it at a high level. So just to kind of throw those stats out there, Mitchell Robinson for this game had 10 points, 13 rebounds. Let me wait for the little ticker to kind of come up. There we go. Yeah, 10 points, 13 rebounds, 4 blocks. Just wreaking havoc. Wreaking havoc. No easy layups. All right. So Mitchell Robinson, you are the egg, my brother. You are the egg of the bacon, egg, and cheese here at Knicks Deli. All right. And lastly, who is the cheese? Bro, can we talk about Julius Randle enough? That apology form, do we have to all sit here and complete it? Maybe I'll go on live so that we can all fill out the apology form. You know, y'all submit it to me. I'll email them, I'll package it all, email them. I'll have it notarized so he knows it's really from us. And I'll have it sent to Julius Randle. You know, not apologize. I already know what y'all going to say. You're going to light me up in the comments. Like, nah, man, we be honest. There was an honest assessment of whatever he was doing at that time. Yes, yesterday he did try to pull out that spinneroonie. He does. Yes, yesterday when he did the spin move, when Julius was in there spinning and sinning, the sinning was completed because he turned the ball over. And I was in the audience like, Ninja, did you just pull this out? Did you just do that spin move that you haven't done in like 13 games? You just thought it was going to work in this game? But just like the movie Dumb and Dumber, when the guy looked at him, he was just like, just when I think I can't get any more mad at you, you go out and you do something like this, and you totally redeem yourself. That's exactly what Julius did at the free throw line in clutch moments to decide the game and secure the victory. RJ, Julius, Jalen Brunson looked each other in the eye and was like, I'm going to do my part to help secure this victory. Julius Randle has played some of the best basketball this season since the playoff run 2 years ago. And there's no coincidence that is as a result of Jalen Brunson joining the team. He just looks so much lighter. Even those moments when he has stress and he still hears the murmurs of, let's trade Randle while it's high. And we know that he still hears that because we do still hear some conversation about Mrs. Randle, being on social media and commenting as well, respectfully. But he's been locked in, man. He's been locked in. And he's been busting people's age. He's been busting people's age. And he doesn't have that pressure to be the one. He has people to help him carry the load. So Julius Randle, man, had a great, great night. His stat line was 25 points, 14 rebounds. They were dominating the boards. I don't know what the totals are versus the Pacers, but it was noticeable that he was in there and grabbing the rebounds. And 3 assists last night. Okay? He was a little bit slow getting in the flow. But once again, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And he finished by canning his free throws. They fouled him intentionally, thinking that pressure will get at him. And he went in here. He went in there and did his job. All right? So, Julius, you are the cheese, my brother of the bacon, egg, and cheese here at Knicks Deli. Shout out to you, Julius Randle. All right? Now, those of you who are just joining us, if you've been in the chat, I'm coming to the comments right now. Did you put into the chat who is your bacon of the game, who's your egg of the game, who's your cheese of the game? The 3 people who stood out and helped us secure this victory. All right? So I'm just going over here real quick. I'm going to rattle these off real quick. Just back with Ashley. Ashley said Brunson was the bacon, Randle was the egg, RJ was the cheese. Shout out. Kenneth Lane. Let's see, y'all already talked about your comment as well. You go down here. I'm squinting at the screen with contact lenses, but the screen is too close. Let me see. Big Task at Hand agrees with me. He says, okay, you're right about that. Knicks for clicks. Listen, Bleacher Report, all of that. But Bleacher Report is an excellent place to go to if the New York Knicks get a win, to the opposing fan base page, because they be slaughtering Knicks fans and the Knicks organization. They be going in there, they be setting on fire. So I have a fun time listening to them squirm after games. Okay, I'm a little bit sick with it. I love to hear the ops burn. All right. Big Task at Hand also says Mitch Robinson is a rebound bully. Yo, he has it, and he is one of a kind. He's one of a kind in a league that a lot has bought into the small ball concept of play. Tom Thibodeau has very quickly secured 3 centers that he's now starting to play together, 2 at a time. Act like I didn't peep that. He plays Hartenstein and Sims. He'll play Sims and Mitch. And when he does that, no one's getting a rebound. You ain't getting a rebound. Offensive rebounds, no. We got the pogo stick in there, with the hair looking like the guy from the little teeny bopper shows back in the day. I'm old as hell. Little teeny bopper shows back in the day, but the kid jumps out the gym. Who's getting rebounds over Sims and Mitch? Come on, man. Tibbs is figuring it out. But let me go back to the comments. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Ash says, we did that one better than Mitch with the 58th pick in 2021 with Jericho Sims. Listen, come on, lady. Look. You're psychic. You're psychic. We here. 100%. 100%. My man King Ribby back. Let's go. King Ribby RM says, salute Shia, but we soon package him next season for a star or a superstar. I'm at the point now, and I know everybody's not with me. You know what I mean? But I'm at the point now where, not even now, I've always been, if you come to my channel, I'm the prince of positivity. All right? I'm always going to be like, yo, listen. And I'm only this way because I've lived through the Isaiah Thomas years. I've lived through those years. And it's so crazy. In the Scott Layden years, I was here for that. So when I see a front office who is moving methodically, and they're being mindful of what the cap is, and they hire the people that they hire, I know when the organization is trying to stabilize themselves so they can start building, and get into what they call the black. I know when it's happening, and it's happening. So I trust this front office. And sometimes there are moves that are made, and sometimes the most important moves that are made are the moves that are not made, if that makes any sense. I wanted Donovan Mitchell, 100%. But we can't lie to ourselves and say we wouldn't know exactly how that would work. Will we be winning because we're outscoring people and still have nights where we're losing games because we're playing atrocious defense? Or would we have trusted that Tibbs would have found a way to work around that? I think the players that we have now fit exactly what he wants to do. And when we get into the parting thoughts, I'm going to talk a little bit about what he said at a press conference, that once he said it, I thought of all of the people that are currently in the rotation, and I'm like, oh, ish. Tibbs has every player that fits the quality that he says he needs to have success. Tibbs might be coach of the year. He might pull that out. I know I'm getting ahead of myself. People are going to be like, yo, you should be the NASA, nah, you wildin' moment of the day. And it might be right. But once again, the prince of positivity is spoken. Okay? Stick with me. We're going to get into that. But King Ribby RM, I got you, brother. And listen, I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to that. Next comment, we got Ash once again. Randall is also literally lighter. Literally, absolutely. He's probably in his best shape since entering the NBA. Let's not dismiss that as a factor for his improvement, plus his emotional, mental health awareness, 100%. And I'm glad that you mentioned the emotional, mental health awareness, because there's a couple of things that come with that. I think that is a major piece to Julius Randle. A lot of Knicks fans, myself, I was probably leading the charge when I was making this comment. Why does it seem that Tibbs, you're vocally holding everybody else publicly accountable for what they're not doing? He continuously tells RJ, listen, well, RJ, if RJ got into the gym after hours, like he was when he first got here. He had that little stretch run when I first got here. He'll get back to shooting well at the beginning of the season. He had no problem calling RJ out about that or anybody else, but he never mentions Julius. And I think that was the thing about publicly criticizing Julius and how that impacts his play. And Knicks fans, we got to take our role in the responsibility for that happening. Julius was probably living on social media, or his wife was. So when he gets home, all he's hearing about is like, "Oh, Knicks fans ain't no good," like they talking saucy or whatever have you, and that's bothering him. Like, listen, I can't bring my kid here. My wife is going back and forth with, so mentally, you have to approach him as a star differently, But the important piece is all of those young players we have on a team. You see how being in the spotlight of New York, or even in the NBA, how it can impact you. So there's lessons that he's teaching the young guys simply by how he's responding to all the challenges he's responding to. And I give him credit, man. Like, the team seems to be a tight fit unit at this point. But there was a period of time where you knew teammates were looking at Julius sideways because they didn't understand his behavior. All right? So shout out to you, Ash, pointing that out as well. I think it's important, especially with the players today who have access to social media and they're impacted by it. Big Task at Hand says the egg for me will be Grimes and his defense. With Tibbs inserting him in the starting lineup, the Knicks are back to the bubble days with the defense. I agree. Man, like, we making this happen. We are making this happen. All right? So good job for you. And lastly, my man Silvery Gray is back. Shout out to you. Salute. He says, go New York, go New York, go. Man, once I start to figure out how to add music and my little ad-libs to this thing, I'm going to be dangerous. I'm going to be a dangerous man. All right? So we done bacon, egg, and cheese of the day. We did our shout-outs. Next up is the dollar slice of the game. Who is the dollar slice of the game? Once again, the dollar slice is who's that stabilizing player, who may not reflect his points, but man, you know what? His impact, you can feel it throughout the entirety of the game. Who could we go to? Who's reliable? And for me, the dollar slice of this game is RJ mother flipping Barrett. Shout out to RJ Barrett. Round of applause for that man. Salute. Since I can salute that man. Salute to RJ Barrett. I don't think words can express how proud I am of RJ. I really, RJ to me is enigmatic. Where I'm like, I think he was worth. I was saying we need to sign him. We need to sign him to that max. I love the contract that he got because he does have a contract that has conditions. There's a certain level of conditional things that are built into his contract that if you achieve this, then this unlocks this level of money. So we gave him a max, but a conditional max, similar to what Zion had with conditions surrounding his health and games played. And I was fine with that because of RJ's brief history. It's just like, I'm not sure if I should or if I shouldn't. But he's clearly turned it around. And that young man, no matter what, seems to be never too high and never too low. I had a guest speaker on the last show who's going to be joining me more often. His name is Chances. And he made a great point. He said, RJ, his struggles at the beginning of this particular season, you don't need to look any further than having to live up to that contract. He said he firmly believes that RJ's production or his struggles very early on came with this pressure to feel as if he deserved that money. And it helped me put it in perspective because at the end of the day, we got to remember, these are still kids. Respectfully to anybody who is in their 20s, you know what I mean, in the chat. But y'all still babies, okay? And there's a lot of pressure that comes with that. We know it's a game, and it's a game that you guys love, basketball players love, we all love. But still, there's a lot of pressure that comes with that. And this was one of the first times where I was just like, yo, I could see that. I could see that as being a possibility of being the reason why RJ is playing the way he's playing. But RJ, we don't want to forget, RJ mentioned in the season when he said, how do you feel about this season? He said, I think we're going to shock the world. Y'all remember that? Throw your ones in the chat if you remember RJ saying, I think we're going to shock the world. And it hit me last night. I was just like, yo, this mother flipper, RJ. Yo, let me find out he might be on to something. Let me find out he might be on to something. He said it to us. We were just like, yo, we got hyped, but then we saw the beginning of the season. We were just like, yo, RJ needs to be committed. Shock the world. Yeah, you get these level of players, and we, are going to be a lottery team. So, and once again, this is 7-game stretch. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I don't want to tamper down our excitement either. We earned this. We love this team hard, but we know basketball, so we're going to also call out when people are doing the basic things that contribute to winning. But RJ last night was a star. Yo, it's funny because I'm in the arena last night, and when I tell you, the arena got quiet, and I was almost embarrassed that I stood up. I was like, "Let's go, RJ!" When he dunked, yo, I was just like, yo, I was on it. And I wasn't the only one because there was other Knicks fans in there. We all stood up, but everybody else was just like, pin drop quiet. So that dunk lit a fire under me. I was just like, yo, RJ, at this point, it's kind of like, yeah, I'm back. And I got my rhythm. I hear the conversation. This team, they hear the talk. They check social media. I don't know who they check or who they listen to, but they absolutely hear us. If we want to talk about Jalen Brunson's after the game comments, when somebody asks him, why is it do you think that you play so well on the road and not at the Garden? And he says something slick, kind of like, wait, what? We love the Garden. Like he said it in a sarcastic manner, like, is that a thing? So it shows me that everybody is aware of the pressure that comes with playing in front of the fans and playing in the Garden, and simply because they want to play so well that sometimes they may trip over their own feet. But RJ was finishing at the basket. He was playing tough. He was going left, and that's what they were saying. All the people around me, they was just like, yeah, he goes left, though. He goes left. And I'm like, yeah, but you got to stop him, though. You got to stop him. And they were just like, yo, you right. And he was coming through. He's starting to hit his three-point shot. But, man, he seems to be settled in the fact that we heard y'all say mid-3. All right? We ain't going to call ourselves the big 3. They'll probably go back to that big 15. But RJ's the type that takes notes and keeps receipts. And that's exactly what he did last night. RJ, production-wise, had 24 points, 4 rebounds, and a block. Once again, RJ will show up. He'll put his feet on the floor getting out of bed and score 20. And you won't even know. He scores the quietest 20 points an NBA player can score. So, RJ, my brother, you are the dollar slice of the game. Shout out to you. So really quickly, I'm coming to the chat, kind of see what y'all have. Kenneth Lane says, haven't seen this much confidence on the court and with the media composure since Melo. Now Brunson. Talk your talk. Kenneth, talk your talk. It feels good to be a fan of a team where you see that, bro. It feels great to be part of a team when you have that on your team. Talk your talk. Kenneth also says, Grimes, for him, is the slice. Man, yo, we're going to get into – I would be tight. If Grimes would have got traded to the Jazz and the Jazz was killing the league. I would be tight. Because to me, we know what Donovan Mitchell gets you. But I've watched Donovan Mitchell, and there are certain points where he disappears in games. I don't know what it is, and maybe I'm crazy. I haven't watched a lot of them, but when we thought we were going to get him, I really dove in to research him. I don't know, man. I just think we would have been stuck in the second round if we just had him. Obviously, the goal would be to get a bigger fish to come play with him. But still, and he's 25. We have Grimes, who's a baby. Like, yo, we got babies on the team that hopefully can grow into those type of players. And Grimes is one of them. So, great point for you, Grimes being your slice. All right? Ashley also says Grimes is the dollar slice. Yo, we moving in concert. Well, y'all moving in concert. I had somebody different. Yeah, muscle sign, big task at hand. Let's go. Listen, J.O. White, welcome back. He says, right? Who cares if a lefty goes left? LOL, can't stop it. Yo, that's something else that is may not be spoken enough about. Yo, you got three lefties coming at you consistently. You have to adjust completely different on defense to guard left-handed players. And when you in the flow of the game, and you have games night after night, you may become so accustomed to right-handed players that when you get a lineup of three lefties, it could be an advantage for us. It could be an advantage. Shout out to you, J.O. White. All right, good. So we're going to go next up. All right, so we talked about the dollar slice. We're going to talk about who's the chopped cheese of the game. Okay? If you're new to the channel, once again, this is Nick's Deli Edition. 4 things on the menu: bacon, egg, and cheese, dollar slice, the chopped cheese, and a quart of water. If you visited New York or if you're from New York, you know that the deli or the bodega is a staple of New York culture. So this is the theme that we celebrate after every New York Knicks victory, just to break all that down. So the chopped cheese is who is that player that's relatively new or had a relatively new contribution to the game, but that thing be busting. So for this game, this victory, who came in and kind of had a relatively new contribution that really impacted us and helped get this win. And for me, many of you already mentioned it. I'm mentioning it now, Quentin Grimes. Shout out to you, Quentin Grimes. Listen, I know it's Indiana, but I'm going to kind of go back just a half a step to the Chicago game. When that man hit like 3 back-to-back three-pointers, and his form, I had to take my contact lenses out and put my reading glasses on because I'm like, is that Allen Houston? Is that Allen Houston? That man's jump shot is so pure. So pure. Randall set that pick and he leaned over Randall and still had the form. Come on, man. Quentin mother flipping Grimes. 6 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. I don't have to put the points on the board to fill up the stat sheet. If he's in your fantasy league, then you still could secure the win with Quentin Grimes in your lineup. We saw what he would be capable of doing in the summer league. That's why Utah was all over it. All those teams had representatives that was there watching the games, and they saw Quentin Grimes show up and show out. He actively worked on his bag in terms of his ball handling. So he's very versatile when he has the ball in his hands. Pause. This man is a talent. And for one time, I just want one time. I want to be able to produce stars from the ground up that are going to contribute, hopefully, for our team like Golden State, where we keep players, a core of players for years to come. Or even if they go on like a Tracy McGrady when he left Toronto, or Vince Carter when he left Toronto and went on to the Nets or whatever have you. Go on to do great things in this league. I want to be able to say that the New York Knicks drafted him, but we experienced some of that greatness while we had him. And for whatever reason, we just couldn't hold on to them, or if we wanted to flip them for somebody greater. I just want this narrative that New York doesn't develop their players to go away. Just like the narrative that New York doesn't keep a coach for more than 2 or 3 years. That's the reason why I want Tibbs to carry out his contract, so that we can show that we're an organization that has stability. All right? Get rid of some of these narratives. But Quentin Grimes is the truth. Yo, he doesn't back away from a challenge. Defensively, he gets up in you. He goes under picks, he goes around picks, he drops off, and then he makes up that ground. He contests every shot. Bro, it's great to see. And he still can hit you with the jelly crossover and the layup at the basket, or he might turn the springs on and bang it on you. And he's young. He's a young 2-guard, and we started him early. Yo, you can't help but get hyped. God damn it, chopped cheese, Quentin Grimes. So let me go to the chat and see who y'all had. If you're new to the chat or if you're following along on your phone, whatever have you, put in the comment section. Let me see who you have for the chopped cheese as well. Okay? So, Rhymes Mr. Slice, here we on the chopped cheese. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Kendall Flame said Deuce is the cheese. There we go. We had Ashley saying the chopped cheese is Deuce as well. I got you. Hopefully y'all could go check my video on Deuce. I don't know if you've seen it. Deuce is our secret weapon. Absolutely. Man, let me talk about Deuce a little bit. You know, I know that's not on the agenda, but since I want to respect the fact that y'all identified him as your chopped cheese. Yo, we love our kids, man. We can't help it. Yo, we love these kids. And it's almost validating for Knicks fans, right? It's almost validating for Knicks fans because what we've been talking about, other fans will secret shop. They be in our comment section. They be watching and not commenting, so we don't know they're there. You know what I mean? They hear how we talk about these players. That's why anytime trade talks come up, and if we hesitate just a little bit, and even Knicks fans, Twitter's crazy. Those Twitter spaces used to be crazy. Okay? Knicks fans will say sometimes we overvalue the players we have on our team. Listen, man, that's because we actually pay attention to our team. We research, we follow the stories, we follow them closely, whether it's practice, whether it's summer league, whether it's preseason, the games. So that's why Knicks fans are the most knowledgeable. So when we see the potential in a player, it's a little bit difficult for us to just give up on it. We want to make sure organizationally we've given them the best opportunity to be successful. That's why a lot of people are tight that Cam is sitting. All right? But we got to compete for these spots. And if we're talking about Cam versus a Deuce on the defensive end, then I don't think that's a question. I think Cam has a lot of the physical traits. I know I'm a Cam guy. All right? I'm also a Duke fan. Don't hate me for it and don't sign out. Okay? But Cam has to sit. He'd be having lapses. But Deuce is a problem. And he's only going to get better. Now that he knows he's going to get regular minutes, he's going to only get better because you see he be torching the G League when he goes down there offensively. And he's starting to get comfortable now. We saw it in this game where he's now comfortable taking that three-point shot because he knows he's not going to get yanked out of the game. We've discovered something. Deuce is that guy. Deuce is that guy. So I agree with you guys. Chopped cheese, Deuce, let's go. All right? Now we're at the quarter water of the game. We're coming towards the end. I know some people, I apologize. I'm glad you guys were able to join me. Some people may be on their way to work or coming home from work. So salute to you as well. But let's talk about the quarter water. Okay, the quarter water of the game. And for me, it's a combination. The quarter water of the game is the terror squad. Okay, the terror squad is the bench for me. All right, so I cheated with this one so I could get a couple of people in there. But the terror squad being Sims, iHeart, IQ, and Deuce. Okay, so I won't spend too much time on all of them. But man, I'm just excited about what I've seen over this 7-game streak. Each of them have found, it seems like they are now fully understanding what their roles are. All right. And I have to give credit. There's nowhere in here for this one that Tom Thibodeau gets credit. Yo, we need to put some respect on Tom Thibodeau's name. Y'all know I be taking Tips tablets. Okay. I take a tip tablet in the morning when I get up so I can fight off Tips haters in the day. When I get home at night, I take another tip tablet so that I'm nourished and energized in the morning so I can fight off the haters in the morning. Okay? Tibbs knows what he's doing. I think he took the first 20 games to be able to figure out what he had and to justify sitting those veterans and inserting the young guys. At least that's my conspiracy theory about Tibbs. But for him to be playing Sims and iHeart at the same time, I think is masterful. For him to throw in there with Sims and Mitch at the same time, or sometimes Hart with Mitch, bro, you go big Tibbs said it in the interview, the post-game interview last night. He said, when teams go small against us, we got to pound them. Pause. I'm sorry. It's New York. He says, when teams go small against us, we got to pound them. Like, he has a whole new toolbox. And he said there are several tenets that equate to success in the game. He said, when you're able to put pressure on the rim, and he got that with Jalen Brunson driving ability, with Julius Randle driving, with RJ being able to drive. His main three pieces, he puts pressure on the basket with the lobs to Mitch and to Jericho. And y'all notice Mitch is dunking the hell out of everything. He's playing with force. Sims jumping out of the gym, playing with force. They tried to throw Sims an alley-oop where he was almost literally disrespectful to the entire state of Indiana if he would have dunked that. I know I would have had to leave out there early if he would have made that joint, because I would have been saying some disrespectful stuff. I would have got kicked out by the ushers out of Indiana Pacers Arena if he would have made that alley-oop that they tried to disrespectfully dunk on the state of Indiana. Okay? So he talked about putting force on the rim. He also talked about rebounding. He said, if you're going to win in this league, you got to rebound the basketball. And now Julius pulled down 14 rebounds. You got Mitch killing the offensive boards, the best offensive rebounder in the game. You got 3 7-footers on the team. It was comical watching how they were just holding the ball over some of these opposing players' heads last night. I'm not going to keep saying pause for the rest of the show, okay? But it was comical. So pressure on the rim. You got to rebound the ball. You got to take care of the ball. We are now one of the teams that lead the league in the least number of turnovers. Again, I got to go back and check the stat. Maybe it was just Jalen Brunson. But the key to winning and staying in these games is not turning the ball over. Okay? And you have to be able to, I think he had one more, but he identified at least 5 different tenets to what will equate to victories in this league. And everybody in the lineup brings it. Oh, he talked about the versatility. He talked about the versatility of each player at the position so that when you switch off, nobody's at a necessary mismatch. And it was shown last night in the game when Julius Randle was guarding Halliburton. Did y'all see that? I was concerned. When they switched off and Julius was in front of Tyrese Halliburton, and he made him take a tough shot, I was just like, yo, okay, Julius. So the rotation that we have right now, the NBA should be scared. And the New York Knicks fans should pay close attention, because all the players that are in that 8 or 9 man rotation that Tibbs is playing are all Tibbs type of players. They're all the players he wants. So if we end up going on a 7-game losing streak, goodness forbid, then you could absolutely hold Tibbs accountable. And if he gets fired because we tank for the rest of this way, then he would deserve to do so, because these are his players. All right? But right now, we're looking real saucy. We're looking solid. Okay? So I'm going to go to the comments real quick to see who y'all had as a quarter water, or if y'all have any additional things to add. So give me 1 second. Listen. That's right. So we got Silvery Gray, who says, I would take a poor man's Allen Houston. Me in a heartbeat. Just don't give him that Allen Houston contract. Oh my God. I woke up that day. I was young, but I was sick when they gave him that contract that he said he's the best shooting guard in the league. But yeah, absolutely. I'll take a poor man's Allen Houston any day. Ashley says, your Deuce video was I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The bench is a good choice. But since I didn't have Mitch as any other piece, then he is my choice as well. Salute to you, and I can see that. No, there's no argument with that as well. Yo, I'm just proud of Mitch. You know what I mean? I be hitting him with comments. And Mitch also is one of the few, I'm noticing Jalen is doing that. If you guys are on Twitter, Mitch is one of the few players he'll respond back to you. If you be like, yo, son, what's wrong with you? He'd be like, I'm working on it. Like, I've received responses back from Mitch. Mitch engages with social media. So news for you, if you never try reaching out to him, he every now and again he'll surprise you. So Very Gray says, Grimes, McBride, the clamp down bros. Absolutely. The Grimes McBride law firm locking everybody up. Yo, as a tandem, what I love to see is, that, come on, man, nobody can talk about New York's culture anymore. They can't call this culture toxic. The team has been successful in really making a good environment for these players. They drafted Obi and IQ together. They drafted Grimes and Deuce together. Am I correct on that? Let me know if I'm wrong, but I think that those two came in the same class as well. So all of that adds to the cohesion. RJ came in when Julius got signed. So like all of that, all of that comes in together. So great to see, great to see. But Grimes, McBride, the clamp down bros. I see you. I see you. J.O. White says IQ has to get his shot back. His defense is top notch. We need those buckets though. I'm glad you brought that up, J.O. White, because I'm saying J.O. White is probably Joe White, so I'll say both. Joe White, because that's something that I noticed. There's moments where I'm like, damn, RJ, IQ, where's your shot at? But then he'll make it up, on defense, really fighting through around, over and under screens, really like he got long arms, really disrupting shots or the vision of the players, taking a shot. So what I love about this team is if you find that one dimension of your game isn't working, do something else. Try to make some impact. If you know your shot ain't going down, just make sure whenever minutes you get, they're productive. And credit to IQ. Credit to IQ. He gets that. Something I will say though is it seems, and I don't know if this is as a result of his maturity, but IQ used to be that player that was always kind of just bubbly, loved the game. He just loved the fact that he's playing in the NBA with the Knicks. It's on. But I think a lot of the trade talk, I think that kind of got to him as well, a little bit. I think he was kind of tapped in with social media. He's swaggy. He got his drip. He got that swag. But I think because of that, he's tapped in with social media. And I think he heard a lot of the talk about Knicks fans being willing to kind of put him in the deal to get somebody else. So it seems like he's a little bit more kind of locked in. And, one thing I don't want with this team or any of our young players, I don't want them to lose the joy for playing basketball. You know what I mean? It's what makes them unique. I love it's what connects them. But IQ is one of those players that he just seemed to be a little bit more just kind of serious. And one thing that really made us, gravitate to IQ was the fact that he was hitting all type of three-point shots from anywhere. He was hitting that floater, and he was just loving playing the game. So there's something I noticed. If you guys want to be straight basketball, understand it, but it's the little things. You perform well if you're in a good environment, and if you have a good energy about you. So I just don't want his energy to be impacted. Okay. Next comment, we got Silvery Gray who says, Knicks got the clamp down bros with McBride, Grimes, and Quickly. I agree. Absolutely agree. My man Big Task at Hand says, at Joe White, agreed. Very well said. Let's go. Good Lord. Absolutely follow directions. Threw that one in the chat. Appreciate that. And Joe White said they did. Yes, yes. So we're coming to the end of the show. And after we do the full menu, we look at what is the nah, son, nah, you wildin' moment of the game. And once again, if you're new to the chat, thank you for coming in to the channel. Do me a favor, if you're watching this video live, or if you're watching it once it plays, once it's over, do me a favor, subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and throw the likes up. It really helps the algorithm, and it helps my channel and my videos be seen by more people. So if you can do me that solid, I appreciate you. But the nah, son, nah, you wildin' moment of the game. For me, it goes to the Madison Square Garden audio of that Jalen Brunson video moment where he returned to the locker room. If you are on Twitter after the game, and let me know in the chat if y'all know what I'm talking about. They had this huge victory. And I stayed late because I was watching him do his post-game interview. So I stayed in the arena late. They tried to kick me out. But I was just like, I'm watching the post-game interview. So Jalen Brunson stayed behind while the rest of the team went into the locker room. And he was getting interviewed by MSG. And as they do a great job of, is a lot of the media for their social media, whether it's photos or videos. Once his interview was over, they had the video following Brunson back into the game after he was played a critical role in shutting down the Indiana Pacers and helping get this victory. And they followed him into the locker room, and he burst into the locker room. Like he literally put his shoulder into the door and burst into the locker room. And he said, he was going off, shaking hands with his teammates, going around the locker room like, yeah, you could see he was animated. He was talking his stuff. And it was just like, you could get hyped on it. But they blurted out the audio. They blanked out the audio. So you just have this picture of him forcefully breaking into the locker room and like saying something, because you saw the dread shake a little bit and you saw the shoulders move. You could tell he was like talking his talk to his boys. Like they didn't believe in us. I could imagine. It's so funny. And Knicks Twitter, y'all doing a phenomenal job of putting sound that you think happened. I hear a great one that I love to watch is they put the Stone Cold music behind it that match right up when he breaks into the room, and they have the breaking of the glass of Stone Cold. Doom, 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 doom. You know what I mean? So I was like, that was clever. That was real funny as well. But honestly speaking, and I'm not gonna be using profanity on here, but he had that F the Pacers energy when he walked in there. So I think when he walked in, he was just like, yeah, F them, F anybody who doubted us. That's that energy that he rolled in. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go on Twitter and look up Jalen Brunson and see if they show this clip with him going in the locker room. And I knew that was the case where he had that F the Pacers or F the Ops energy, because you could even see it on Derrick Rose's face. Like, yeah. And Archie Dion, the guy that he went to Villanova with. And your college bros or your girls, they know you the best. So he walked in there like Archie or Richie, whatever his name is. He was ready for it. He had that energy like, yeah, I know my boy. That's my boy. So they robbed the MSG audio team, audio visual. You get the nah, son, nah, you wildin' moment of the day because you robbed Knicks fans of that moment. We wanted that energy. You knew we probably would have poured into the streets and stopped traffic again. And we would have heard Jalen Brunson get hyped in that moment. So shout out to all of you. We tie this up. I just want to go, before I do my parting remarks, I'm going to go to the comment section, see what y'all had on this as well. Silvery Gray says, correct OBN quickly and then Grimes McBride. Yes. Okay, good. Yep. I figured that they were drafted together as well. Okay. So, folks, I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. I just want to have the parting thoughts. Once again, I know I mentioned earlier that the media should be slaughtering Dallas for not signing Brunson. I think we're in good shape. If you have not been able to watch these Knicks games, the chemistry that they showed over the 6-game stretch, you want to start tuning in. All right. I don't know how long this stretch is going to last. If you ask me, and I'm saying it here, I think the Knicks are going to get to a 10-game winning streak. And I think that because the person that's spearheading, it's almost like Jalen Brunson is refusing to let this team lose. Not just him. I don't want to lean into just giving him all the credit. But I think they look at him because he's shown a proven track record to make difficult shots in pressurized moments. And I think Julius is taking notes and learning, as well as RJ, as well as the whole team. Grimes also has that ability. He's shown that he's not afraid to pull it and splash that thing. You pause. I can't help it, but pause. But anyway, we're in a good spot. So I think we play the Bulls again maybe a Friday from now. And then we have the Golden State Warriors on Tuesday coming in. And we have another team. I forget who it is. So 7, 8, 9, 10. We have an opportunity to get 10 wins. But I just I love the energy of this team. I love the fact that they didn't give up on Tibbs. The sign of when it's time to go is when the team doesn't respond to you. There was one game kind of within this early stretch of the season where the Knicks didn't respond to him, and I was worried. Y'all know I'm a Tibbs stan, you know. But if he don't produce and the team ain't buying into what he's selling, you gotta go. And one thing I saw in Chicago that I've never seen with this team since Tibbs has got here, the Bulls quit on their coach that last game. Like, we made the Bulls lay down. And it's been a while that I actually seen it happening, like in real time. I couldn't believe it. And they were lost. Levine and Levine was out there and DeMar was out there, but they were lost without a point guard. Lonzo Ball is a very important part of that Bulls team. And I'm a Ball Brothers fan, so I hope he figures it out and he gets better. But they have a point guard problem, which is why I wouldn't be surprised if the New York Knicks found a way to send Derrick Rose back to Chicago, because they would welcome having Rose as their starting point guard. He will probably destroy the rest of his knees, because they will put him in a lineup until Lonzo gets back. But I think I wouldn't be surprised if Chicago is on the phone trying to make that deal happen and get Rose back to Chicago. That little emotional piece, man, they had me. I was like, bruh. They love Rose out there. He loves them. But he also loves New York. He's ours now, but he's a player and he wants to play. So shout out to all of you guys. I'll wrap it up. I want to thank y'all for continuing to support. Y'all know that SB Knicks is my handle on YouTube, but it's also my handle on Twitter. Just continue to follow me. I'm putting out these videos. I appreciate all of the comments, things to help me get better, the support. As content creators, you do look at that. I get up and I kind of look and see where I could be better. But you also know I got a little bit of a sense of humor, so I'll be trying to embed some things to make you laugh. Sometimes it goes over, if you're from a generation, you don't know what I mean. It could be from shows from my childhood or whatever. But honestly, we love our Knicks. We could be passionate about our Knicks, and sometimes that can come off as being disrespectful. So I like to plug in a little bit of humor just to kind of let people know, like, yo, listen, we serious about our squad, but we don't take ourselves too seriously as well. Friend or foe, we always open for that smoke. And the smoke is exactly what we're bringing today, courtesy of these 7-game winning New York Knicks. All right? Want to go to the comments before I end the broadcast? Just read these last ones. Joe White says, not gonna lie, mine was Julius knocking down the 6 free throws. Nah, son, nah, this can't be real. Yo, facts. Everybody, I'm gonna share this funny story before I close. Halftime came. So everybody takes a bathroom break. Y'all gonna laugh at me, yo. I swear it's not inappropriate. Everybody takes a bathroom break. So there's this long line in the men's room. So I'm in the men's room waiting in line. And there's this guy that was in front of me. He turns around. He was just like, now he didn't have on any type of paraphernalia. So I don't know if he's a Pacers fan or a Knicks fan. And he says, yo, we need this win. And I'm like, at first I forget I have on paraphernalia. So I'm like, what, you think I'm a Pacers fan? So he says, yo, we need 7 in a row. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm agreeing with him. But he was just like, yo, bro, Randall, we need to trade him fast. And I'm like, I told him, I said, he's been getting better. Let's not kill him. He's been getting better. He was just like, yo, but look, you remember that game where he held the ball for 14 seconds? And I'm like, yo, every Knicks fan I know is talking about that moment where he didn't want to give up the ball. But I told him, I said, watch it. I said, we talking about him now. And all other Pacers fans are around us. I said, we talking about him now. Watch he be the reason we win this game. Watch he end up taking the last shot or being the reason for us ending this game. I think I said the last shot, so I don't want to make it broad to make it sound like I'm being, Bashir Stradamus. But he ended up hitting those free throws. And I was proud of him because I was just like, early in the game, he was clanking them. I'm like, yo, what's up? Come on, man, get it together. But he hit them when it counts. So I can see how that could be the Nasa Mayuwala moment of the game. All right? But folks, I thank you for allowing me to take up your time. Yo, our Knicks are good. We deserve feeling good. Don't let anybody try to shame you into saying that you ain't playing nobody. Your teams are Teams have players who are injured. Nobody says that when we got players who are out and they get their win. Nobody says that. So we're not going to sit there and let y'all dictate what we do to celebrate and how we celebrate. We're going to remind you when we win as well. Keep this in mind. Same thing applies to life as applies to our team. If there's no struggle, there's no progress. And I've been saying it for 3 seasons. Not only are we here, but we got next. And legit right now, the NBA is waking up. We got the longest win streak in the league right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we do. We absolutely do in the Eastern Conference. And we're beyond being here. We got next. Sheer Brilliance Knicks. I'm out. Folks, have a great night. Talk to you soon. Peace.